Next up, we have Catherine Wallace Hope, who is going to be reading from Once Again.
Well, thank you so much, Lainey. And thank you, everybody who's here reading tonight. And thank you to all the people out there on Facebook. Thank you for being here. My book is Once Again, and you can't see the cover because it's in the woods. Okay, there we go. The book is Once Again, and it's a speculative fiction. It's got time travel, it's got true science, and it's got a family story, and it's got mythological connotations. So there's that. So I'm going to read something from kind of at the beginning of the book. The main character is a woman named Erin. On a hot summer morning, Erin Fullerton sat at the island in her kitchen alone, wearing the t-shirt and sweatpants from the day before, or maybe the day before that. She shivered slightly, even though the room felt warm. She cradled a cup in her hands, but the remnants of her coffee were cold. Once there was a ghost, she thought. This was the game she and her daughter used to play, telling each other little stories they made up together, 5 words a turn. Erin closed her eyes and let herself see Corey's face, those round, lucent gray eyes, the way she used to gaze to the side when she searched for words. In the beginning, when Corey was 3 and just starting to figure out the game, she ended every story with her main character, a fairy, a hamster, a fish, successfully going potty, which she found hilarious. She had that little girl laugh that tumbled across the room as loud as a chord on a harmonica. By the time she was 6, shortly before her death, the stories had become more sophisticated, with missions to rescue captured sisters and find lost undersea homelands. Now Erin took Corey's turn and filled in the words for her. Who lived in the woods? Erin put her cup down on the white countertop of the island. Stop it, she muttered. Stop turning it into a story for her. But she couldn't make herself stop. It had been nearly a year and a half since Corey died, 500 days, and still all Erin could do was think of her. She couldn't start new things. She couldn't make lists. She couldn't reach out to other people. She couldn't find her way back to the normal world because, she thought, this is what becomes of the mother of a murdered child. And the threads that bound Erin to this world now were so thin, spun glass finer than spider silk, so easily snipped between her fingernails. She could sever them in a heartbeat. Her phone startled her, humming with an incoming call. When she saw the caller ID, she couldn't make sense of it. Peregrine Elementary. She stood as she accepted the call. Hello, she said. A woman replied, Mrs. Fullerton? Cool white panic slid over Erin's face. She knew the voice. It was unbelievable that this woman was calling her, speaking to her again. Mrs. Fullerton? Erin positioned the phone against her ear. Yes. The voice came back over the line. This is Gina in the office at Peregrine Elementary. An image of the woman surfaced from a murky pool of memories, faces of those who were involved during the days after Corey's death. Erin wrapped a protective arm over her chest. Why are you calling me? Well, Gina paused as if she were the one who was surprised. We have Corey here in the office and she's running a temp of 101.8. Erin flinched from the sting of this woman saying her daughter's name. Her lungs shrank in her chest and she grabbed the edge of the island's counter. What? The world seemed oddly slanted and she thought she might lose her balance. She looked again at the ID and then put the phone back to her ear. Gina spoke again, slow and clear, highlighting each word. Someone will need to pick her up because she's running a temp. Why are you doing this? Erin pulled her hand to her damp forehead. She couldn't imagine how someone could make this call more than a year later, knowing full well what had happened. Gina exhaled, sounding impatient before she spoke again. Is this Corey Fullerton's mother? Yes, Erin snapped. Well, then you need to pick her up, Gina snapped back. What is wrong with you? Erin paced across the kitchen tiles. Don't you know what a horrible thing you're doing? The quiet lasted a few seconds. Erin's pulse thrummed in her ears and she couldn't swallow. She had to have water. She grabbed a cup and filled it from the tap. It was then that she looked up through the window pane. Outside, it was snowing. She dropped the cup and it clattered into the sink. Snowflakes chased down from the pearl gray cloud cover. Half a foot of new snow lay on the ground and the limbs of the spruce trees hung heavy with the slow falling burden. She leaned on the counter with a hand over her eyes. This is what happens, she thought. Eventually, you lose your grip and you start to fall. Tin sounds rose from the phone and she listened. Gina said, "If there's a problem." "No," Erin interrupted, scrutinizing the snowfall. She dropped the phone on the counter and ran to the stairs and up toward Corey's room. She froze in front of the closed door. It's impossible. Her thought was to open the door slowly so the dust wouldn't stir, the air wouldn't shatter, the quiet that had accumulated over all of the months when she had stopped outside the door and held her breath and listened. The empty room should be just as it was, nothing but dark space. And in the closet, the neat white boxes of Corey's things that Erin's mother had packed up and placed in stacks. For an instant, Erin wondered if Corey's specter would wake. Silver light in the dimness and turn to her, a stunning, beautiful, living absence. She reached for the knob and turned it and flung the door open wide. The riot of color sent a shock through her. Color and light and clutter. All of Corey's things were back. Her bed tumbled with her purple covers and fuzzy pillows, her turquoise curtains, her lamp revolving with lavender lambs, her clothes, her toys, her games, books, shoes, socks everywhere. The world as it was supposed to be. Who would do this? Who could have done it? No one had been in the house but Erin. Thank you.
Wow.
Thanks, people.
Thanks so much, Catherine. And for everybody listening, that was Catherine Wallace Hope reading from Once Again.